Hello, good morning, and welcome aboard to AM News. My name is Denise Yapomaije. In our very first story, stakeholders in the West African sub-region have reaffirmed their commitment towards strengthening Ghana's protection and human security, being spearheaded under the Integrated Coordination Mechanism of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Now, at a three-day workshop in Accra, the call for intensified education on interlinked risk affecting vulnerable populations re-emerged. There's more in the following report.
Over a period of 3 days, officials drawn from local and international partner agencies have been carrying out an assessment on interlinked challenges confronting Ghana's protection and human security. The broad objective is to give boost to an integrated coordination mechanism of the sub-regional body ECOWAS launched some 2 years ago.
These include the combat of human trafficking and related offenses, irregular migration and the various vulnerabilities associated with that, child protection, including children in emergencies and those affected by armed conflicts, and child rights in general, international humanitarian law, women, peace and security, and sexual and gender-based violence, amongst other areas.
Building on efforts that pivotal gathering in 2023, Ghana has charted an impressive trajectory of commitment to protection and human security, transforming policy aspirations into tangible action.
In spite of growing threats to peace and human security in the sub-region, international partners are reaffirming their commitment in working closely together to reduce these challenges.
We were central to the partnership that led to the regional adoption of the strategic framework for strengthening national child protection systems to prevent and respond to violence, abuse, and exploitation of children in West Africa in 2017. I have no doubt that this workshop and its outcomes will be an asset for our future work, given the opportunity ECOWAS provides to harmonize support to countries on critical themes and, most of all, keep in the children and adolescents at heart of any policy dialogue.
At the end of the deliberations, participants are expected to adopt a national roadmap for implementing a coordinated protection and human security action in Ghana. Let's against report for JoyNews, Accra.
Now, government says Ghana stands to gain billions of dollars every year from its new labor export program if the framework is implemented with discipline and also strong planning. The Minister of State in charge of special initiatives, Emmanuel Kojo-Adjekum, noted that the policy has the potential to pull in between $10 billion and $20 billion annually, arguing that figures may sound ambitious but are grounded in real global trends. The minister explained that nurses, IT professionals, economists, and teachers are among the first groups being placed in various Caribbean countries where demand for skilled labor continues to rise. The following report has more.
Speaking at a press briefing in Accra, the Minister of State in charge of special initiatives, Emmanuel Kojo-Adjekum, explained that the statistics from other countries show clearly that labor export has become one of the most reliable income streams for nations with strong migrant workforces. The minister argued that Ghana can tap into similar opportunities if the country commits to structured training, strong regulation, and a coordinated effort to prepare workers for international markets.
We're looking at people who can just go as helpers, laborers, whatsoever. People who can be even just seasonal farm helpers as well. Apart from that, we're looking at people who can at least work on a ship with just a basic skill of about 6 weeks training, and they can be on a ship to cruise to wherever they want to cruise to. So these are areas that we're looking at, and this has got potentials to bring in probably more than 10 to 15, $20 billion we're talking of. One will ask, why are you mentioning such big figures? But that is the reality. The statistics are there. You can't dispute it. The statistics are there.
Emmanuel Kojo-Adjekum added Ghana is now exporting skilled workers to new regions, including the Caribbean. The minister explained that nurses, IT professionals, economists, and teachers are among the first groups being placed in various Caribbean countries where demand for skilled labor continues to rise.
Doing most to the Caribbean as well, in terms of nurses, in terms of economics, in terms of IT guys. I mean, a whole lot of stuff. Not only nursing, we're doing teachers as well in the Caribbean. All the countries. Our brothers, even in Niger, needs teachers to teach English. So I think it's something that we need to explore because there's a gap. And that gap, we have what it takes to be able to fill the gap.
With registration onto the program still ongoing, the sector minister says his outfit is committed to ensuring that workers sent out receive proper training, protection and orientation before deployment, adding that their focus is not only on job placement, but also on building Ghana's international labor credibility.
Now let's head to Parliament. Ranking member of the Parliamentary Committee on Economy and Development and also MP for Ofuasia UAB, Kojo Nkrumah, has taken a swipe at government for failing to submit key policy documents, particularly on the 24-hour economy, to Parliament, despite repeated public announcements. Speaking at a roundtable discussion on the 2026 budget statement at the University of Cape Coast, he argued that the prolonged delay is undermining Parliament's oversight role. Mr. Nkrumah also stressed that without the requisite documentation, neither lawmakers, academics, nor policymakers can properly assess the feasibility, structure, or expected impact of the government's flagship policy initiatives.
The roundtable discussion, organized by the UCC School of Economics, Department of Data Science and Economic Policy, focused on the 2026 budget statement and its implementation to the benefit of the country. The Dean of the school, Professor James Atapepra, highlighting the theme of the discussion, stressed that sound economic management must be founded on evidence and proper coordination between policy and practice.
The true measure of our economic success lies in our ability to create jobs, reduce inequality, and improve the welfare of every Ghanaian. The 2026 budget statement thus presents an opportunity for us to take a deliberate, data-informed steps towards inclusive growth and shared prosperity. The theme of this roundtable discussion, from macro stability to inclusive prosperity, a data-driven strategies for implementing Ghana's 2026 budget, is both timely and profound. It captures the essence of what our national economic conversation should be about, moving beyond fiscal consolidation towards sustainable, people-centered and transformation. It reminds us that sound economic management in today's world must be anchored on evidence, analytics, and strategic coordination between policy and practice.
Ranking member on the Parliamentary Committee on Economy and Development, Kojo Nkrumah, questioned governments over the delay of presenting documents supporting the 24-hour economy policy in Parliament.
The government has announced or launched the program. We in Parliament have been asking them to bring the program document to Parliament so that oversight can start. Till date, it hasn't come to Parliament. In fact, not just that, there are about 11 programs that government has launched. Agri for Accelerated Development, Feed Ghana, Nkukon Kitinkiti, Big Push, and a few other programs. We've been asking that all of those programs should be brought to Parliament so that we can start the oversight. Not one has been brought to Parliament so far, so oversight is also challenged. Let me take advantage of this platform to urge on the government, bring the program documents to Parliament so that all of us can have an opportunity to interrogate and give feedback.
Economic advisor to the Vice President, Dr. Sharif Khalid, urged Ghanaians to view the 2026 budget with a non-partisan lens.
And we're calling upon all and sundry, regardless of political affiliation, that this is a bipartisan document. Since January 7th, it did not become an NDC manifesto, it has become a bipartisan document, right, for a government of the day that is headed to actually translating impact into growth. So no blame games, come together, let's build the Ghana we want to achieve.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lissel Nkrumah reports for JoyNews.
Now, the Creative Arts and Tourism Minister, Jifa Ablangomashi, has emphasized the need for Africa to strategically manage the story of its cultural heritage to shape global perceptions and also strengthen the identity of younger generations. At a recent heritage management workshop, the minister highlighted the significance of Ghana's art, music, folklore and crafts as reflections of resilience, creativity and also national identity. She stressed that the continent must control how its history and also cultural achievements are presented to the world rather than leaving the narrative in the hands of outsiders. The minister outlined Ghana's ongoing investment in preserving and also presenting its heritage assets, including forts, castles, ancient artifacts, traditional buildings and intangible cultural expressions recognized by UNESCO. These efforts, she explained, not only preserve history, but also promote education, community development, and also empowerment.
Our art and our crafts, all of these, the songs as I just sang, and our folklore, as I mentioned before, embody stories of our resilience, creativity, and identity, requiring effective interpretation to derive empowerment and education. We have demonstrated the resilience and strong desire for continuous investment in improving in management and presentation of our numerous heritage assets, such as the forts, castles, and ancient artifacts, traditional buildings, and the many intangible cultural expressions which are captured on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Thankfully, as I'm beautifully adorned in my alpakata this morning, the UNESCO World Heritage has listed our kata or kente on their list. And it's a moment of pride for our country, and I hope that Africa shares in that pride as well. We therefore recognize that our stories around these heritage assets must be told in a strategic way to shape how the world perceives Africa and how our young generation values their origin. We must be in charge of the narrative of our story. Again, our forebears say, until the lion learns to write, the story will always glorify the hunter. We must be in charge of our own narrative. Ladies and gentlemen, this workshop reflects Africa's growing commitment to align heritage work with the UNESCO Culture 2030 indicators and Sustainable Development Goals. By enhancing the interpretation and presentation of our heritage, we contribute to sustainable tourism, cultural education, and community development while promoting mutual understanding and peace.
Now, hope has taken a tangible form in Cape Coast as the Aronak Foundation Food Bank, established by businessman and philanthropist Richard Ni Amakwe, begins offering free meals to support vulnerable residents in the city. In an interview with the Group HR of Aronak Holdings, Abigail Nadede-Kwe, she noted that the initiative is a deliberate effort to give back to Cape Coast, a community that has significantly contributed to the businessman's journey. She emphasized that the food bank seeks to ease the burden on the needy by providing consistent food support.
The RNAQ Foundation, headed by businessman and philanthropist Richard Ni Amakwe, seeks to address food insecurity, among other purpose-driven programs that empower communities, champion local enterprise, and position wealth as a tool for transformation. Speaking in an interview during the launch of the foundation's Cape Coast branch of its food bank, Group HR for RNAQ Holdings, Abigail Nadede-Kwe, shares details about the food bank, describing it as a long-term initiative.
So we've started the food bank in Accra some months ago, and our second stop is Cape Coast. This food bank will continue to operate as long as Mr. Richard Ni Amakwe, the founder of RNAQ Foundation, is alive. You just have to come here with your Ghana card, get get registered and then form a nice queue, and then when it's your turn, you are served. We don't want anyone to leave here with the food, and that's the more reason why we've provided chairs and tables so that they can dine in and also have themselves sorted. We have a good ambience for them to feel relaxed and to enjoy the thing.
She also notes that the food bank is meant to support the needy in Cape Coast and called for support for the initiative.
It is for all Ghanaians, or especially Cape Coast, those who are not able to even get one meal before they go to bed. So anywhere you are in Cape Coast, if you are not able to get food to eat before you go to bed, please don't hesitate to come to Cape Coast, where the food bank is located right at the market, so that they will all have something to eat. RNAQ Foundation door is open. Any other philanthropist who wants to join and to push this agenda is warmly welcome.
Justice, a student of the University of Cape Coast, lauded the food bank initiative as beneficial to the youth in Cape Coast.
I'm actually here at the RNAQ food bank, which is currently in UCC. Sincerely, to me, I'm very happy, because when I was in Accra before coming here, so I was wondering, how are we going to benefit? How is the youth going to benefit? The students all over UCC is going to benefit about this food bank. So let's say, was it yesterday, and I heard of the initiative that it will be coming here in UCC, very like live, and I was like, wow, Cape Coast here, and I was like, it's going to help us a lot. The youth is going to benefit from it, and I'm really, really proud of him. For me, example, it's not every youth out there that has something to eat. So with this initiative, so far as we are going to eat from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, up to Friday or Saturday, it's a very good initiative. So anytime you are ready to, or you feel hungry, you can pass by and then take it. And I think that's a great initiative. May God bless you.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lisa-Lenkoma reports for Joy News.
And that is the RNAQ Foundation opening a food bank in Cape Coast. Well, it's time for business news. I'll bring that to you after this breather. Now let's see how the cedi is trading against other major currencies on the currency market. Welcome back, and now to our first story. Director of Economics and Freedom at the American Institute for Economic Research, Dr. Peter Earle, is urging government to prioritize sustained economic reforms that deliver real improvement in the lives of Guineans. He told Joy Business that Ghana must strengthen internal economic discipline and also stability to attract meaningful foreign direct investments.
It's a fantastic development. I think people should be very proud, and I hope it keeps on going. Last I heard, inflation was between 8 and 9% year over year in Ghana. That's down from much higher a few years ago. We're doing the opposite in the United States. In the United States, we're driving inflation up, and so for that reason, I mean, I would expect that you would see improvements everywhere from unemployment to the success of businesses, GDP, all those things over time. Of course, I mean, the big thing is not to forget, and that is to never, sort of look back and say, 9% is good, maybe we can let inflation float up to 15%, whatever. It's eternal vigilance, and nations need to stay on top of that. And I mean, the rewards for having a stable currency are pretty obvious over time. You get people coming from other countries, people will want to start businesses here, that sort of thing. So I mean, it's something to be very proud of, I think.
Also, Asante Hene Otumfuo Setitu II has urged African and Caribbean nations to deepen trade and economic cooperation among themselves, describing it as essential for reclaiming their shared destiny and also strengthening ties across the Atlantic. He spoke to Joy Business at the 2025 Guba Awards held in Barbados.
Guba 2025 Awards, Otumfuo Setitu II emphasized that enhanced trade among African and Caribbean nations would open new markets, promote investment, and accelerate development on both sides of the Atlantic.
Modern partnerships. The components of our theme are three clear imperatives: connect, build, and renew, which I spoke about this afternoon. Let's first recognize that the term the African diaspora generally refers to the mass dispersal of people from the African continent to other parts of the world. In its scope, the term includes both involuntary or forced migration caused primarily by the transatlantic slave trade, but also the trans-Saharan and Indian Ocean slave trades, and voluntary modern-day migration for economic, political, or social reasons. In short, the African diaspora includes all global communities that descended from Africa since the 15th century through voluntary and involuntary migrations. The term emphasizes the connection to the African continent, shared ancestry, and potential or emotional link to the mother continent.
The Asante Hene also encouraged the use of educational institutions to foster deeper understanding, recommending exchange programs and curriculum development that reflects the shared history of African and Caribbean people.
And that's it for business news. But before that, let's bring you some commodities. And that's it for AM News. Please don't forget that if you want more news, I know a place, myjoyonline.com. My name is Denise Yapomaiji. Up next is sports. Enjoy the rest of the show and have a terrific Tuesday.